quote of yours in media, you have mentioned that the company is now focusing to reduce corporate debt by 90% in next 3 years. So, what are the strategies or the specific steps that you are planning to take to achieve this goal?
So, we as a company, have been always trying to see how we can best manage the debt. And we are today also, we are in quite control of our debt. It's not something that is really worrying. But as a Gujarati mindset or as a Baniya mindset, we always feel byaj kam hona chahiye.
Yeah.
Or there should be less interest and more. So we strive and continue to work towards it. But at the same time, yes, debts towards as I said earlier, corporate level debt is where we want to reduce. We have framed up strategies, we have framed up plans to how will we do this in terms of probably having some assets in terms of selling. We are expecting some monies coming from different projects. Some projects are on the way of clearing. All those together will actually line up to the monies which will be there to reduce the debt. And at the same time, while we reduce debt, we also have a target to grow 5x from where we are. And we will continue to work towards a debt reduction and b towards growth. So that's a very challenging task, and as a company we are striving to go there.
So, Ajmera as a brand has investment in Bahrain and London also. So, what international ventures, these international ventures complement your overall business strategy? And are you guys planning to further expand in international market?
So when we started venturing into markets in Bahrain or London, these two places where we moved, our whole motto was that we as a company wanted to grow, and with the kind of family hands or the management hands which we have, it is within our reach to probably look at few more projects around outside Mumbai, and that's where we looked. We started with Bahrain, which where we also our motto was very clear: bring what Ajmera is really for, right? So bring the best kind of efficiency in planning, bring the best kind of amenities, and bring the best kind of layout planning and amenities within the project, which probably is not seen around in different projects of Bahrain. So that's where we work towards. We designed and developed the tallest residential tower in Bahrain.
Yeah.
And but obviously things changed while COVID happened. Before COVID, we started our sales. We got a great response, but post COVID, the demand suddenly in this country like Bahrain changed to a ready apartment. And we as a company thought investing so much money within a, because ours is always a sale develop kind of a cycle, and within a company, if I have to honestly invest something so high and make it ready and then sell, it was something which we were not very comfortable, and hence we sold that project to someone who's locally over there. While with every details and planning, we've sold it. So as Bahrain, we've exited from the project, but with a very clear mandate that we would probably get the money how and as and how, as per our understanding. As far as London is concerned, we always believe that London is a market, is a buoyant market, is something which entire world, probably my belief is Dubai, London are these two cities where everyone from the world wants to invest or probably have something or the other over there. So we went there. We did not put very big bucks in London. We always were very clear. We don't want to be in zone 1, zone 2 regions where the prices are very high. But we want to be in the developing areas or suburbs of London, and that's where we developed 3-4 projects. We've almost exited all. One project is left, and we should be finishing all. But for now, our future plans are more focused in India, primarily Mumbai and Pune and Bangalore, because we believe the growth potential here is better than probably outside, and hence we are clearly focusing more here.
So you must be aware about the international real estate landscape. So basis on your learnings or practices, what do you think could be beneficial from the other countries, can be beneficial to Indian real estate market?
So my belief is, India as a real estate market has grown and matured a lot over the last 1 decade in terms of RERA, in terms of GST, all these things, the ILFS crisis, demonetization, everything has really matured the real estate market in a right way. Transparency has come out in a very, very big way. Uh, I also believe that, in some cases or places, India is way much ahead as compared to other cities, what we see. But I also see that, real estate, what I really like is somewhere we need to see, obviously, that's not a match, but I personally believe that, if you look at cities like London or UK where we've worked, a buyer will only probably pay a deposit of money for real estate or for the home buying which he's doing. And the developer will completely get funding from a bank to finish the project, and then he will sell it, or the buyer will give his entire 100% at the time when the project is ready. Obviously, that is possible because the cost of funds over there are very, very low. So it's like 0.5% or 1%. Obviously, now being a little higher, but as compared to what it was pre-COVID levels, in terms of home loans were as low as that. And if I have to look as a bank loan or a construction finance, was about 4-5% or something like that. But as compared to what it is in India, is very high. Like India, cost of funding for home loans is 7-8% at the best, and now it's obviously a little higher. But and even construction finance is on the higher side. But if we can match this, right, it will solve a lot of anxiety problems between the buyer and the developer, and the customer will feel that, okay, I have to pay money at the end. I don't have to pay I have to pay once my project is ready. But obviously there comes a lot of mechanism, standardization and everything. But if we can, this can be worked upon. I know it's a very far-fetched dream because of the cost of the funding itself in the overall economic cycle is higher in India. Hence, it will not be possible. But I think in the best interest of real estate, I think this should happen, and probably in a few years' time, probably I see this as a reality.
So we had seen developers being thankful that RBI, rate hike was not increased. But a lot of developers even spoke about this is a good sign it's not increased, but they should also look into the stamp duty. What is your take on that?
I personally believe that, I must appreciate uh, primarily the government and the RBI, that this, when they did not increase the repo rate twice, this only shows that, at least when I look at real estate, I think it is a very direct sign that people at the government and everyone recognizes real estate as an important integral part of the economic cycle of India. And when we see, when interest rates are not increasing, this gives a confidence in the home buyers to actually movement. So if I look at the cycle, when over the last few years post COVID, the home loan interests were all time low, and that is where we saw a great jump coming in terms of buying from real estate, for buyers actually coming out to buy their products. So that was really encouraging, and the movement started really great. So real interest rates being low is a sign of growing economy in India, and especially real estate. Secondly, with that, if you look at the cycle when COVID happened, the government of Maharashtra reduced stamp duty to 2% and then to 3%. And at that point in time, also, the number of transactions which happened, right, were almost double or nearly double to what probably would have happened a year back or something like that. The reason for that was, today I as a developer can give any discount what I want, but as a buyer will get more confidence if it is been stamped by, or given by government. So if a government has given that incentive that, okay, if you buy a home today, I'm giving you certain benefits in terms of stamp duty. That's a very, very different push which a buyer's decision, in a buyer's decision, as compared to probably I coming and saying, okay, I'll bear your stamp duty. Because this, that psychological feeling or the decision is very different. So hence, and I personally believe that stamp duty in a real estate market should be capped at 3%. And we as CREDA MCHI and everywhere, we've always harped upon to the government that please make this as 3%, because we've seen maximum transactions or tractions happening at 3% is a figure which is really beneficial, or digestible, I would say, to a customer, to a buyer, and everyone. And I think it's fair. So if we do that, it's only that if we, we've proven that, even if you increase, if you make it to 3%, government is not losing revenue. True. Because there will be more transactions happening. It's a supply demand chain. There will be more transactions happening, so revenue continues to come in. And at the same time, if transaction happens, if you look at a long term benefit, if a transaction happens, if this way, government probably might think that they have lost out on the revenue, but there will be an incremental GST which is coming to them, a perpetual property tax which is coming to the government, something or the other which will continue. So there are indirect benefits available for every one of us. So, and I personally believe as a digestible figure is always 3%.
True. And now they have introduced the grading of the projects of the developers. What is your take on that? And do you think it will be actually helpful for the home buyers or also for the developers?
Well, it's a very I don't personally see a grading of developers actually. There should be a proper formulated thing. I'm sure there will be, but if I really look at buyer may probably grade. You need to grade a developer based on its experience, its delivery, its past record. True. That should probably be given a lot more weightage. Yeah. As compared to probably a project itself. I'm just giving as an example. But where probably if let's say a developer who's quite experienced, who's delivered so many homes, who've been in the market, there has been no issues in and around the developer, that should have more grading as compared to probably in that project that project may probably be ABC with some kind of shortcoming or whatever. I'm just giving as a general statement, but because of that the developers grading reduces. That should not be the case, because you should not forget the history and the legacy from which the developer has come in. That is more important, because that's his credibility, that's his legacy, which he would not want to compromise at any given point in time. So I think that importance should be more. And I personally believe that if you have to really give grading, give more importance to this. And at the same time, if let's say that is given 60% or 50% or 40, whatever percentages should be weighed to that. With that, you give a developer's project with their efficiency planning also coming in as one of the grading, or the amenities giving that as one of the grading. With that, if you grade, it becomes a fair grading for any customer to really realize that okay, everything is tick in the box for me to take a decision whether I need to buy this.
But project wise grading, people say it's quite beneficial also, because that proves that deliver of that particular project on time will happen. Because there have been a lot of home buyers who have faced grievances in past when it comes to redevelopment projects, or when it comes to few branded developers where it was promised in certain period of time, but of course it was not delivered to them. So don't you think that will actually make all developers at least make sure the timelines are matched?
So my thing is, if you look at any real estate developer who's a serious developer and who's been in this business since long, with RERA coming in, that really did not affect the developer. Because he was always a compliant developer. Yes, he was probably not uh, telling public at large that what I am going to deliver when, but it was always, delivery is not being an issue, quality lot being reasonably well enough. And I mean, what is a customer really want? Grade A homes, like good home quality homes, obviously on time delivery. And third is committed to what is transacted. These are the three prime criterias of anyone buying a home, right? So I think if you really look at any project, I think yes, grading is great, but if that's where I said that if the legacy of a developer is always to see that he's delivered projects on time, his past projects was committed and he's delivered earlier, please grade him higher. because that is more important.
True.
For because today what you're transacting is a future transaction.
Yeah.
But today even you and I probably will go and buy a what do you call, a car or whatever, based on the brand or based on the legacy of the like if I have to buy a car, I know if I'm buying a Mercedes, it's because Mercedes has been consistently delivering quality.
Yeah.
Mercedes has been doing great job. That is why I will go and look at it, right? So that gives a lot of importance to the grading of the developer. So if you look at the legacy basis, which you also look at that if the project has been committed on time and it's been progressing well on time or before time, please change the grading accordingly. So that's how you are seeing that yes, the project is moving ahead and doing. So it's a lot of variability within it. So rather than just tagging as a A plus or a or a B, I think we need to rationalize it well to see which actually gives the right kind of grading to the right developer for the right project.
So coming to sustainability, which has been the topic now, sustainability and social responsibility have become quite important and part of real estate now. What does Ajmera brand how does Ajmera brand practice sustainability in their projects, or even how do you, uh, commit to the existing communities that you're serving to? What is the, if you have to name an example of one particular notable, project or any practice that you have executed, what that would be?
So, sustainability is here to stay, and many developers probably, and we very proud to say that we are one of us. We had envisaged this long time back. So even just to give you an example of our projects at Vadala, Bhakti Park, which was started 20 years back. That was, or probably even if I have to look at some projects in the likes of Mira Road, Shantinagar, which was done 40 years back. We had created a sewage treatment plant at that point in time. So you understand the whole idea was to see to it that the water, the sewage, to be recycled,
Yeah.
to be reused, which will actually save water in that entire complex and community of 1500 1700 buildings, and actually be used again for their own purpose, thereby saving water, b saving their money, because eventually this entire uh, recurring money was being saved because you're taking less money supply of water from the government. Yeah. And only fresh water was being taken for drinking purpose and everything. So that was as old as 30 40 years back is what I'm talking. So when with that in mind, sustainability is always been our factor where we look at every of our projects. And now obviously with technology and with the LEDs of the world, and we see how better and more we can do to be part of this sustainable environment is what we continue to do. So to give you an example, even today when we look at buildings or when we design buildings, we want to probably we design it to see it is the most efficient or a kind of a green building which will be a long term sustainable to the customer, where eventually his money would probably be saved in terms of long term point of view, in terms of his recurring costs.
Yeah.
And that's where we look at projects, and that's how we are now continuing, and going forward probably we will still see that how can we be helpful from this project to the environment, probably by adopting to some ways which will eventually become this, which will make this project more sustainable as compared to others. So somewhere it will be practical, somewhere it will not be practical. It depends on the location, depends on the area, and the cost versus the installation, etc. Everything will come into place. But we will strive to see how and more we can be more sustainable towards the project by, I mean, just wildly thinking, can we really look at something like where the electricity cost for the customer is as good as negligible? Can we really look at obviously right now we look at some common areas being under solar panels. Can we look at more solar panels, or can we look at some more wind plants which can actually install somewhere, and then with that thing we will not they will there will be not be any recurring cost to a customer for a longish point of view. There'll be no electricity cost coming
Yeah.
to him. So something which is in our mind, but legally better way which we can work on,
Mm.
and give a long term benefit to the customer and save the environment is what we want.